Hey everybody. So I went ahead and I measured the width and length of every wrap, and just to save some time, and I took an average of dimensions essentially, right? And you can see that the triangular area is bigger in some areas than others, right? But the areas it is bigger at is very, very little. It's like the very tip of the triangle. And there are literally like 3 wraps with that, right? So if you look here, 1, 2, 3, then here it starts to get a little bit less. But it's not gonna affect the amount of pulp really by much. I think it's gonna be pretty equivalent. So I figured I'll just do an average of these. But the average of these isn't really gonna make much of a difference as far as the amount of pulp at the end. So we're gonna stick with one set of numbers, and these are averages essentially, right? So let me show you what I did so far. So what I did is I measured the average wrap weight was in grammage 4.45 grams. So a little bit less than, not a little bit less, about good 2 grams less than the cover, right? So that means the ultimately the amount of pulp you're going to be adding is going to be probably less because the grammage is going to be different. The average wrap width was 33.7 centimeters, and the length, average wrap length, was 25.8 centimeters. Actually, the cover, when I did it, the actual width was 34.3 and the height was 25.8, so I approximated to 34 and 26 when I did it. But these, I'm going to stick with the actual averages here. I'm not going to change them. All right, so the wrap area, if you calculated the average wrap area, is going to be width times length, and is going to be 33.7 times 25.8 is 869.46 centimeters squared. So this is the full area, provided this piece isn't missing, provided this piece is still there, right? But since this piece isn't there, we have now to calculate the amount of loss, which is essentially a triangle, right? So a triangle, if you measure it from, and I measured this one really, from top to bottom, you get 3.5, and the base, you get 2.2 centimeters. If you measure the others, you get less, right? But I'm gonna stick with the larger piece for this one. So it's not gonna make much of a difference at the end. It's still gonna be about the same amount. So the area of triangular loss, you have the base is 2.2 centimeters and the height is 3.5 centimeter, and the area of the triangular loss is this times this, which gives you the base times height divided by 2. 2.2 times 3.5 divided by 2 is going to be 3.85 centimeters squared. So if you want to know the area of each one of these covers, the actual area is going to be this area, the whole thing, minus the area of the triangle. So you get the average area that we measured initially, which was 869, right? So to get the actual area of the cover, of the wraps, you take the original area, which you measured being 869.46, and subtract from it the triangular loss, which is 3.85, and you get 865.61 centimeters squared. This is the actual area of a wrap. Average, I should say, average actual area of a wrap. Now we can calculate GSM or grammage, and grammage is going to be the weight of the wrap, which is 4.45 grams, divided by the area, which is, we just calculated to be 865.61, but you gotta divide it by 10,000 to get it in meters squared, right? So it becomes 0.08561 meter, right? All right, so if you divide this, you end up with you end up with 51.41 grams per meter squared. All right, so what else? So now the question is, if this is the GSM of the cover, current cover, how much pulp do I need for the triangular loss, right, of the 3.85 centimeters squared? So 3.85 centimeters squared is 0.0000385 meter squared, right? So if you know that the GSM is for the cover 51.41, right, and the GSM for the triangular piece to be equivalent is going to have to be unknown for right now, right? One of it is unknown, the grammage, how much gram to add of the pulp, but you know the area, which is 0.000385. So X is 0.000385 times 51.41, and that gives you the amount of grams needed, works out to 0.198 or 0.2 grams of pulp is needed for each one of these triangular pieces. So it's less than last time. Last time it needed this is 0.02 grams. Last time it needed 0.03 grams, right? So how do I prepare the pulp this time? I can prepare it this way. I can take 0.2 gram of pulp, put it into 50 mils, right? And then if I do that, every 5 mils of this will be 0.02 grams. And I think what I'm gonna do, guys, is do 0.8 grams of pulp. This pulp's gonna be mixed type pulp, right? And I'm gonna use tanned paper that is art paper that is made of cotton. And I'm going to use 0.8 grams of pulp in 200 mils volume, right? If you do that, you'll get your 0.02 grams per 5 milliliters. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you for watching.